Hey fly tyers, welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. I'm Darren and today we're going to be tying the Bass Creeper. This is a pattern based off Jim Green's Bass Crawler. Made some modifications, changed up a few things. But anyways, it's a great pattern for either largemouth, smallmouth. Pike really seem to love it as well. You can weight this in a couple different ways. Primarily, the cone head is the main weight, but you can also add some lead weight on the underbody. You can tie this in any number of colors. There are literally hundreds of different types of legs that you can use for this pattern. It's just up to your imagination what you come up with. Alright, that's enough chatter. Let's get started. Okay, let's get started. We're going to put a hook in the vise. Today I'm using a Mustad Signature C52S BLN size 2. This is the kind of a standard bass hook. And I'm using a Danville olive flat wax nylon. And we'll just start by tying on behind the cone. Cone, by the way, is a copper 6mm brass cone. So we're just going to add a layer of thread here just so that we have our weed guard has something to sit on. It doesn't slide around the hook shank. So go down the hook bend a little bit and then back up just behind the bead. I'm using a 50-pound monofilament for my weed guard today. And I like to just add a little bit of a ball on the end of this. So what I do is I just, with a lighter, just hold that close to the flame. Don't really want to light it on fire, I just want to heat it enough so that it turns into a bit of a ball. Then I'm going to stick that ball in under the cone head. That helps fill the void that's under there, as well as makes it really hard for this weed guard to be pulled out. And then we're just going to wrap this, making sure that it stays on top of the hook shank. And we'll bring it down around the bend of the hook. If you want, you can take some time and do a few of these up ahead and cement those in place. And we're going to also put a ball on this end so we can do the same to secure it underneath the bead. And on this end, I'm actually going to take my pliers and I'm going to bend that. Just make sure that that's cooled enough that it's not going to come out once you touch it with your pliers. You want to give it a fair amount of pressure just to put that kink in there. So as you can see, when I'm ready for it, it'll just sit nicely inside there, and I can secure that pretty easily. Alright, so first thing we're going to tie on here is a bit of Marabou. Now you can mix and match colors. You can just take a full plume and sit it on the hook like this, or you can do what I prefer is just a roll and stack your own. So what I do is I just tear it away from the stem and I just kind of fold it upon itself. And then when I have one side, I'll lash that onto the hook So just take this hook back, or the thread back a bit. Tie that on near the cone. You want to make sure that you give yourself a little bit of room to work up at the head as well. And then we'll do that to the other side as well. So we just basically pull a couple strands off, roll it down, pull the next few off, roll it down, until we've got the whole marabou. And then you can see we don't have much marabou left. You can use that on the fly if you like. And we'll just match that up. And we'll tie that down. Just trim off this excess here. Don't worry, this will all get cleaned up as we tie the fly. Alright, just going to add a little bit of highlight on here. We're going to add about 3 or 4 strands of pearl crystal flash. And for that I just take 3 pieces and I'll tie it in on the close side along the side of the hook shank with a few wraps. And then I'll pull it over top and secure it along the other side, and then wrap it down towards the base of the tail. Then you just have to trim that off with the other side. Okay, so now we're going to add a few hackles to this fly. So I've got some olive grizzly hackle. You see that it has a brighter side, and it also has a curve. So we want that curve to face out so that it gives a little bit more action. So I'm going to marry 2 of these hackles together and place them on the outside. I'll just trim that up before I tie it in. And then we'll do the same for the other side. So again, I'm just going to take 2 hackles. I'll measure them the same as I did these ones. And we're going to tie them so that they're flayed off in the other direction. And I'll give you a side profile so you can have a look to see how those sit. See how they go up and down. Alright. Next we're going to tie in some estaz or some crystal chenille. Today I'm using a large olive superfly. It's a nice bent bulky chenille. So we'll just tie that in at the base of the tail, then wind our thread forward. And then we're just going to start kind of palmering this so that we have a nice dense body. There we go. So now we're going to put our hook guard in, or weed guard. So we just slot that in under in the cone and then give it a few really heavy wraps. Because it has that ball on the front, it's going to be really hard to pull that off. And you can adjust it after you take that out of the vise. Alright, one last material. We're going to take a bass skirt like this, This comes in hundreds of different colors, different patterns. This one is I think it's a fish scale. Kind of see the diamond pattern in there. They also have just straight one color, or some of them have a little bit of gold or silver fleck. Some of them have hot tips, blood spots, barbed wire, all sorts of different designs on them. So what I do is I've just cut it in half, and now I'm going to take the intact end and I'm going to wrap that around the cone head so that it meets at the bottom. And then I'm going to just take a couple loose wraps just to make sure I have everything in place where I want it. Give it a little wiggle. And while I'm holding this, I'm going to give it a few snug wraps. And now I'm going to flip these legs back and give it a couple wraps up front. Now this can be a little bit tricky till you get used to it, but it's well worth it once you get these legs doing what you want, because they add so much action to your fly. And whip finish. There we go. So what I like to do is I just pull these legs, give them a little tug. Sometimes they stick together, so if you pull them out, these ones are stuck together a little bit more, so use a bodkin or just your scissors just to separate them. You can also see we've got a little bit of a collar left, so just trim that out. That helps the legs sit a little nicer. So, and then you can see they have a nice shape to them. And there you go, bass creeper. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you keep a hook in your vise. Until next time, this is Darren with Piscator Flies. Thanks for watching.